Hi everyone, my name is Amber, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a big book haul, and it's probably going to be the last one I do in quite a while because I'm trying really hard to reduce my TBR, and so I'm reducing the amounts of books that I buy. I am probably going to stop going to the library so much in the coming months as well, because the library has been the main source of all of my reading so far this year, and I really need to focus on my own TBR. So I've got some books here that I bought for myself, and then I also have a few library books to show you as well as like a big final haul. But before I get into those, in case you're wondering, yes, I do have new bookshelves, and yes, I will do a bookshelf tour very soon. I'm working on it. There's a lot of them, and I've not quite finished organising where I want all of my books to go. So as soon as I'm done, I will record a bookshelf tour for you. So subscribe if you want to see that. Otherwise, let's get into this book haul. Starting off, we have two graphic novels that I bought from eBay, and those were Lore Olympus Volume 1 and Lore Olympus Volume 2. I bought these for £20, I think, so £10 each, which was really good value because on the internet, on Amazon, I think these were selling for £17–18, and the recommended retail price is £20. So to get both of these for £20 is a really good bargain. I've actually read all of Lore Olympus now online. I'm caught up with the webcomic, but I'm really enjoying it, so I wanted to own these for myself, so I'm really glad that I found these on eBay for such a good price. I also had a bit of a moment of weakness because I was having a bit of a stressful morning, and I went to Waterstones and bought 3 books, brand new, which is something I rarely ever do, but the stress got to me and I was walking past, so I decided to go into Waterstones and splurge a little bit. So I can't actually remember where I've put the 3rd book that I have bought. I can't see it anywhere behind me, but the 2 that I can show you are The Final Strife, which I think is an adult fantasy series. The first book in the first adult fantasy series. The 2nd book is coming up very soon, so I do need to recap this one for recaptains. I do have this already as a NetGalley book and I haven't read it yet, so I bought this because it's going to push me to actually get to read this very soon. I don't know loads about this one. I think it has been very popular in the online bookish community. As far as I can tell, it's about some trials where people have to compete to rule the kingdom or empire or something, so looking forward to reading this one. It's some of my friends' favourite book of the year last year, so I think I'm going to enjoy it. I also picked up Loath to Love You by Ali Hazelwood. This is her collection of short stories all in one bind-up. This came out, I think, in January this year. I haven't read any of these yet because I'm not a massive fan of short stories, but I do really like Ali Hazelwood's writing. It reads like fan fiction, which I really enjoy. So I think what I'm probably going to do is read one of these a month or something. I also have her next book that's coming out in the summer as an ebook, so maybe I'll read them all kind of close together, or maybe I'll need a break in between, I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to reading this one even though I don't usually love short stories. Another book that I bought myself was The Indifferent Stars Above. This is a non-fiction book about the story of the Donner Party. You may have heard of this already, but if not, you've probably heard of the Oregon Trail, the actual trail, not just the game that it is based on it. And this is the story of the Donner Party, who are a massive group of people who are traveling from, I think, Missouri all the way to California along the Oregon Trail, and things went wrong along the way and they may have had to resort to cannibalism. I was listening to a podcast about this, and I'm actually in the middle of another one now, and I've decided that I want to bring back my sort of true crime series on my channel and not just focus on true crime. I want to focus on like natural disasters or accidents or things like this, because I find it really interesting, and stuff like this where people actually survive in the end is a lot less depressing than true crime. Yeah, I do want to read this one and then do a whole video on the whole situation. I picked up The Survivors by Jane Harper from the charity shop. This was £2, as you can see. This I have actually already read. It's got some awful stickers on it. So sticky. I read this a few years ago when it first came out, and I really enjoyed it. I think I did a review and it's up on my channel, so I'm just adding this to my Jane Harper collection. I think I've bought all of her books secondhand at this point, apart from her newest one, which I don't really want to own. In case you're wondering, this is about a guy whose name I can't remember, goes back to his hometown in Tasmania. Before he left, well, let's just say he didn't really leave on the best of terms, and when he returns, a body is then found on the beach, and the locals are kind of like, did he have something to do with it? Is this all because he's come back? What actually happened back in the day? So it's a small town mystery set in Tasmania, and I really enjoyed it. I also found Redemptor at my local charity shop. This is the sequel to Raybearer, which I really enjoyed. It's YA fantasy. It follows a young girl called Tarasai who has been sent on a mission by her somewhat questionable evil mother, and she realizes that her mother may have been manipulating her the entire time and may not be the best person to listen to. I don't want to say too much because I'm probably going to spoil the ending of Raybearer if I carry on talking. You've probably heard of this series already, but I haven't seen many people talking about this 2nd book, and I do want to read it soon and finish off the duology because I'm trying to finish more series this year, and this one should be an easy one to do because I really enjoyed the first book. I also found the first 15 lives of Harry August at the charity shop. I'm trying to only buy books that are already on my wish list and not kind of just pick up a book because it's cheap, although that did happen to me this month, as you'll see in a bit. I think is pretty self-explanatory from the title. It follows someone called Harry who keeps coming back to life after he dies. It says here that at the end of his 11th life, a little girl appears at his bedside and says, "I nearly missed you, Dr. August. I need to send a message." I really like time travel stuff, so I think I'm going to really love this one. I've been looking out for it for quite a while now, so I'm really happy that I finally got my hands on it. I also found A Marvellous Light, which has been on my wish list for quite a while. I did get it from the library a little while back, but then I had to return it before I had a chance to read it. I have no idea what this is about. I just know that everyone seems to love it, and also the sequel, so I'm looking forward to reading this and recapping it for Recap Tins. I think it's queer historical fiction. I don't know if there's any fantasy in there or not. Yeah, it says something about a magical society, so I'm looking forward to reading this one at some point. And then I did say just now that I'm trying not to just pick up books because they're cheap on a whim, but I found Pandemic by A.G. Riddle. This is a massive book. I wasn't expecting this to be so large. This is by the author of a book called, I think, Lost in Time, which I haven't read, but I've had my eye on for ages, and I really like their concepts. They also wrote a book called The Atlantis Gene, which I didn't love, but I really like the idea of it, so I'm hoping I will enjoy this one. I think this came out in like 2017, and it's about a pandemic that started in Kenya, I think. The world is facing an outbreak quite unlike anything previously documented. In just 2 weeks' time, a disease with a 95% fatality rate will infect every corner of the planet. I know a lot of people aren't reading pandemic stories at the moment, but I really enjoy them, so I'm looking forward to reading this one soon, and I hope I enjoy it more than I liked the Atlantis Gene. But I think now that this author is more established, has had more practice, maybe they'll be better able to tell a story. I have a few more non-fiction books as well that I just quickly want to mention. Some of these I will be doing, hopefully, a video on if I enjoy the books, or at least I can talk about the books anyway, even if I don't enjoy them. This next one is The Last Blue Mountain. This is about a mountain climbing tragedy where a group of people were trying to climb a mountain in Pakistan and everything went wrong. It's a really short book, shouldn't take me long to read. I'm looking forward to covering this event. I also got Murder in the Neighborhood because Amazon advertised it to me for like a £5 and I got it. This is the story of America's first recorded mass shooting, told from the point of view of someone who was there and experienced it. I've read some reviews for it, and the reviews do seem to be very positive, although I'm not sure if those reviews have been bought because they all sound suspiciously similar rather. I'm going to give this one a go and we'll see if I want to cover that case. And my last non-fiction book I think I have to show you is Erebus, which is about a ship that went missing, I think. In the early years of Queen Victoria's reign, HMS Erebus undertook two of the most ambitious naval expeditions of all time. On the first, she ventured further south than any ship had ever been. On the second, she vanished with her 129-strong crew in the wastes of the Canadian Arctic. Her fate remained a mystery for over 160 years, and then in 2014 she was found. Really looking forward to reading this one. I'm really into shipping disasters at the moment, so this is really good. A really exciting book that I got that I need to show you is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi, and yes, I have already hauled this one, I have already read it, but this is the Fairy Loot edition. I found this on eBay for quite cheap because the back is a little bit bent. The illustration here is just, it's come off a little bit, but I can stick that down, that's not a problem. And in this edition you've got the cat illustration and the illustration of Amina on the map, and obviously gorgeous sprayed edge. So yeah, I picked this one up because it was really, really pretty and I really love this book. I've done a whole review of it on my channel if you would like to go and check that out, but it's amazing. I gave it 5 stars. So I'm really glad that I can add this to my collection. And then the last few before I get into the library books that I got from the library, I found The Life and Medieval Times of Kit Sweetly from the charity shop. So I bought this for like £1, maybe £1.50. It's about a woman called Kit who works in a medieval cafe, as in a cafe or restaurant themed around medieval times. So she's working there as a waitress. That was the government emergency alert. Anyway, as I was saying, she works in a restaurant and she wants to be a knight, but only guys are allowed to be knights, and I think she rebels against that. I also picked up these Fleeting Shadows for a project. This is by Kate Alice Marshall, who I've read books from before and really, really enjoyed them. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. I don't really know what it's about, I just picked it up because it's by an author that I enjoy. And it says here that the main character and her mother left their ancestral home, but she doesn't know why. Her grandmother dies and she is shocked to find grandfather. The main character's grandfather dies and she is shocked to find that he has left everything to her. So she has to go back and claim her inheritance. So really looking forward to reading this one. Kate Alice Marshall's books, or more recent books anyway, all have a kind of horror, paranormal thread running through them, and I find them really engrossing, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. And then I bought 3 books for a NetGalley project that I'm doing. The first one is Halflings. This came out, I think, in like 2012, and it's probably about fallen angels. I don't really know. I do have a few subscribers who have read this and really enjoyed it, but I haven't really heard anyone talk about it since it was released like years ago. This came out around the time the whole fallen angel thing was a massive trend, like with Hush Hush and Unearthly and various other paranormal books. I also picked up Innocent Darkness. This one is, I think, steampunk, going by the cover. I've just noticed she's got sparkles around her face. This is such an old school YA cover. Wow. It says here that the main character gets into an incident with a hovercraft and she is sent off to a reform school, and then the next paragraph says something about a fairy queen, so I guess it's some sort of fantasy thing. I haven't heard anything about this in years either, so this could be an interesting read, I think. And then finally, for this project that I'm doing, I picked up the Paladin Prophecy. This one, I think, is sci-fi. It looks sci-fi, but the back doesn't really give any details. It says the rules for staying alive are to trust no one. There's no such thing as a coincidence. Don't watch your life like it's a movie that's happening to someone else. It's happening to you. It's happening right now. A mysterious thriller from the screenwriter of the Fantastic Four and co-creator of Twin Peaks. So yeah, this one's chunky, but it shouldn't take too long to read because it's an old school YA book. And then we'll get on to the library books. There aren't too many. I mean, there are quite a few, but I think you've seen most of these already, so I'm only going to show you the ones that I don't think I've shared in a video before. The first one is The Great Reclamation. I actually mentioned this as an ebook, but then I requested it from the library because I wanted a physical copy to read. I think this might be a generational story about a family who originated in Singapore and then the Japanese army invaded. It's historical. They go through the resistance movement. I'm not sure. I'm really into historical fiction at the moment, so that's why I requested this one from NetGalley and picked it up from the library. There's also The Heroines. This one is a mythological retelling. This is the story of a trial happening in Athens when Phaedra accuses her stepson, I believe, of rape. It says here, the men of Athens must determine the truth, who is guilty and who is innocent. But the women know the truth is a slippery thing. After all, this is the age of heroes and the age of monsters. There are 2 sides to every story, and theirs has gone unheard until now. Really looking forward to reading this one. I'm really into Greek mythology retellings at the moment, or any kind of mythology retellings. Although I've not really been reading many, I've just been acquiring them. So I'm hoping to read this one soon. I also picked up What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. This is her adult debut. It's a debut thriller book. I don't read the synopsis for thrillers, so I don't know what this one's about. I just know that she's a really good author that I tend to enjoy, so I picked this one up. I also got The Silence Project. I don't actually have this one from NetGalley or anything, I'm intrigued by it. It's been 11 years since my mother's death, and the questions never stop. On the main character's 13th birthday, her mother moves into a tent at the bottom of the garden. From that day on, she never says another word. Inspired by her vow of silence, other women join her, and together they build the community. 8 years later, Rachel and thousands of her followers around the world burn themselves to death. This one sounds really intriguing. I've seen it all over Twitter, although I've not really seen anyone in my sort of friendship groups or reading circles read this themselves, so I'm looking forward to reading this one and maybe doing a video review on it. I also picked up The Fine Print because this is a famous TikTok book and I want to read it and recap it for recaptains. This is about a billionaire who owns, I think, an amusement park, and then the woman who goes and works there for him, and they fall in love and it's romance. I read the first page and it's exactly what you would expect. The first line actually made me cackle. It says, the last time I attended a funeral, I ended up with a broken arm. The story made headlines after I threw myself into my mother's open grave, which is about as dramatic as I would expect from one of these books, so I'm looking forward to reading this one very soon. It should be an easy read. I also picked up The Terraformers, which I also have from NetGalley. I'm probably going to be reading this one very soon, in May, with Justine, I hope. It says here that the main character is dedicated to terraforming Sask-E. As part of the rescue team, she cares for the planet and its ecosystems as her parents did before her. The main character discovers a city full of people that shouldn't exist, hidden in a massive volcano. As she uncovers more about their past, the main character begins to question the mission she has devoted her life to. Really looking forward to reading this one. It sounds amazing. I should have read it already, but I haven't, so I'll pick it up very soon. I also picked up Red Dirt Road, again another one that I've got from NetGalley and wanted to get as a physical book. This one, the tagline is crime fiction. It's a crime thriller set in Australia. It says one outback town, 2 murders, 50 suspects, so it should be fast paced. I'm looking forward to reading it. I've never read anything by this author before, but they have apparently released 2 other books. I really enjoy Australian crime fiction at the moment, so I'm going to give this one a go. Hopefully I really enjoy it. And I picked up Her Majesty's Royal Coven. I actually have no idea what this one's about, but everyone seems to love it, and the sequel is either just come out or is coming out very soon. It does make me laugh that the abbreviation for this one is HMRC, and it confuses me every single time because in the UK HMRC is, they're the people who deal with our taxes. So I get very confused when people are talking about loving it. It says something about witches and Gaia and Anne Boleyn. We work as a team to support the UK government in the handling of supernormal events and incidences, to uphold the tradition of witchcraft in the UK and to safeguard our continued legacy. I don't know, I think this sounds great from what my friends have been saying, so I'm going to try it. And then finally, the last book I picked up was Hungry Ghosts. This one is set in Trinidad. I don't know loads about it, but I know that involved in the story is a mystery where someone goes missing and someone has to get involved and try to solve it, because maybe the people who are looking into it don't really care to and they're not doing a great job. So I'm looking forward to reading this one a lot. Actually, I'm going to put it on my May TBR because I cannot wait to read it. Those are all the books that I hauled recently, and the last books that I'm going to haul for quite a while. I'm going to try my best not to bring any more books in because I really don't need any more. You'll see once I share my entire physical TBR with you in a couple of weeks that I need to start working on that and whittling it down. So coming up, I've got a try a chapter video where I go through books that I might want to unhaul that I haven't even looked at years. I'm also going to do a full bookshelf tour, as well as sharing my entire physical TBR shelf or shelves in separate videos with you. So yeah, you've got those to look forward to. Subscribe if you would be interested in seeing those. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all in the next video. Bye.